Yeah, this deck was so freaking tough. I obviously have like a lot of thoughts about it, and there's like a lot of like different little things, especially the sideboard that I'm not sure on. But what I do like about what's going on here is like Voidwalker plus Kaito seems like a pretty, like both these cards. I played Kaito on Friday, right? Kaito seemed really strong to me in like the Grixis Murktide show. And I feel like it plays very well with Voidwalker. Obviously, Voidwalker being unblockable, both cards providing incremental value, being kind of hard to interact with kind of traditionally. And like obviously, I think you could build this as a Grixis deck, and I even have this draft together of a Grixis deck, not with Voidwalker, but just like a Grixis Kaito deck that you can try. Like your mana is like pretty tough, potentially. Like if you're gonna play the red 1-drop, so I just wanted to try a blue-black version. And, you know, like, I really feel like Tourach is a really supernatural fit for this, you know, with these, like, starting with the Voidwalker Kaito plan, right? And then, you know, this is kind of like the classic realization as a modern brewer in this kind of shell is that black creatures kind of suck. But I do think it is kind of interesting to pair Voidwalker with the Thieves Guild Enforcer, Soaring Thought-Thief Rogue package. Voidwalker is itself a rogue. Borrower's a rogue. Tourach not a rogue, unfortunately. And like I just was like really like trying to find different directions to go with this list. This has been like I just put a shirt on like 5 minutes ago. Like this has been. I woke up, hated the deck I was gonna play today. I don't know why. Just like I went to sleep last night excited. I woke up just really disliking it. And so I decided to work on this, and I've been working on this for like an hour 20 minutes this morning, and I don't know if this is good, but we're gonna play it live for the first time. Like I did mess around with it a little this morning. I just like it was such a headache to like work on the mana, and so like the last like thought I had with the list was if we can cut Urza Saga, the mana gets a lot better, and then you still have like a lot of synergies with Rin and 6. Oh yeah, I forgot the Delver top rated the challenge. I think I'm gonna play this and then Inquisition them. So I was just getting like really stuck and like frustrated trying to like, you know, crack the code, I guess. They have 2 Spell Pierce in their hand. It's unreal how good these Spell Pierces are. I think I'm just gonna take their Channeler. 4 Dauthi, 4 Drown seems a little rough. There's too much tension. I mean, obviously, like, yeah, I've obviously considered this. But it is true, like, Thieves Guild Enforcer helps power up Drown. If you have a Drown in your hand and a Voidwalker, you, like, it's not like you have no control over these 2 cards, right? Like, you can sack your Voidwalker aggressively, you can wait to like, play your Voidwalker and, like, try to drown something, or, like, wait for them to fill up their yard a little bit. I think that there's less tension there than you might expect, but I do also absolutely agree that there's tension. Maybe I should just play a Voidwalker here, since we know they've got double Spell Pierce up. I think that that's actually kind of good. And then next turn I can actually go triple 1-drop, potentially. Fleece made 7 months, Sam to go 22. Oh, also, I got new headphones. I don't know if you could tell, but I was buying Esther some running shoes for her birthday yesterday. And at the store, they have these, like, these really sick headphones that don't actually go in your ear. They go over your eardrum. These runners are out here really innovating. And I had a lot of ear infections as a kid. I had 3 ear infections, which I feel like is a high number as a kid. And so like I like really sensitive ears, and so like my Bose headphones are too big. I just hate them too. And I really like these. I really like these. They're not attacking with this. Sorry, I just hate everything today, I guess. Let's Thoughtseize them. I guess I should have played my land first. Yeah, don't Spell Pierce there, just Pierce. Rock with the 12 months. Matt with the 2. Trolling in the deep with the 8. Thank you guys. Appreciate you understanding the late start. I always feel so bad late starting, you know. Okay, so here's a question. They're gonna Spell Pierce this Fatal Push. Do I Spell Pierce back off Voidwalker so I can keep Murderous Cut for Murktide? I think I do. I think Murktide Regen is like something I'm really scared of here. Hey Pi, how's it going? Yeah, I think saving this for Murderous Cut is worth it. And they've got no spells that we know of left in their hand. They got a Kaito to start drawing me cards. Where do you find the Delver list? It top 8 of the challenge. I mean, listen, it's Murktide Regent. They put Delver of Secrets in the deck. It's not very good. I don't know. It's not really any deeper than that, I think. Saving the heat or the cut for Murktide. Okay, I have no double blue cards in the main deck, so I'm pretty sure I can get a swamp. Pretty sure I should get a swamp. Yeah, let's get a swamp. So smart, saving the cut. Okay, we're gonna play Kaito, get a token so we can start drawing cards. Oh yeah, Borrower. Sorry, I did forget about the Borrower. We got a blue source here. Sorry, first game with the deck. Okay, also, why is the record tracker still down? It's been so long. Please come back, record tracker. I'll try to re-add it. I always take the record tracker for granted. Alright. So Kaito phases back in. If they did draw a red removal spell, they get to kill it now. Hopefully that's not the case. Maybe I should just plus immediately because I just have these lands, but they would have already cast it, right? Oh my gosh. Well, I guess we got punished. We draw land. They've got no cards in their hand. Their top decks were pretty good so far. Okay, that is also a pretty good one. Trying to think if I should main phase this. I guess I should. Why not? Yeah, counterspell? Not a counterspell. Around that time I put Kaito in the Murktide deck. I mean, I actually feel like Kaito was... I think it was fine. I think we actually had, like, very weird variants the entire league. It felt like every single game we were mana flooded or mana screwed. Okay, not too bad. Yeah, but I am so, like, you know, this is something I talk about, like... I talk about a lot, where I don't like to stream a brew unless I feel, you know, confident or I feel good about it, and it's kind of hard to articulate a little bit, like what my qualifications, like what I need to play a deck, but like again, my plan this morning, I was gonna play that Jund Traverse Brew, and I just really hated the mana when I woke up, and so it's like, it was like I spent like an hour 20. I woke up early today too. I woke up early today and I started late. It feels so bad. But I spent so long with this list, and it just felt so close to being like, for me to start feeling it for all morning. I was just like, just messing around with everything. And I finally got it to a spot where it's, I think, looking pretty good. Aspiring Spikes main trigger, bad mana bases. My main trigger is bad mana bases. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know if I necessarily would call it a trigger as much of a critique, a healthy critique, huh? Yeah, my finish last season was 76, which should be the new record. And the season ended about a week ago or so, a little more than a week, I guess, at this point. Okay, so I think we're relatively good against Murktide game 1. I probably want maybe the Damnation's a little slow. I have 3 ways to deal with Murktide, 2 cuts in the Borrower. Let's see. How do we want to side here? I feel like I'm down to cut an Inquisition. I usually like to keep Thoughtseizes for Murktide. The Thought-Thieves are kind of interesting. They actually block Ragavan pretty well. We actually didn't draw any of our, like, goofy rogue creatures this game. Yeah, my biggest trigger is probably the same chat suggestion over and over all stream. I might just play the Jace. I think we could also play some Flusterstorms, Spell Pierces, Jace is okay. I do like that it bounces Murktide. It's like a powerful threat to tap out for. This game is probably going to go down to top decks. Maybe I could cut like the third Tourach, play like the first Flusterstorm. Maybe play only one Inquisition, 2 Flusterstorms. Spell pushes. Flusterstorm's a little bit better than Pierce here, but unless they have Jace, I guess, or Blood Moon. With so many one-mana spells, why isn't Snap played in Murktide? Well, Snap has tension with Murktide, where Murktide incentivizes you to exile as many instants and sorceries from your graveyard and as quickly as possible. It's also true that Murktide Regent is a deck that like wants every play to be as mana efficient as possible. It's not necessarily looking for value plays so much as I think probably keep this. Kind of bad against turn 1 Ragavan, but they mold a 6 and they have Delver of Secrets in their deck. Yeah, but Murktide wants every single play it makes to be as mana efficient as possible, and Snapcaster is not a super mana efficient play. Sorry, I'll mute my phone. What a draw. I'm gonna main phase this. They showed us like roughly 1 billion spell pierces game 1. Can I get an update on the Tez brews? Yeah, so I figure I think that most people also had the same misreading, misunderstanding, whatever you want to call it. I'm gonna be able to get an island here, I think, just in case they blood moon me. I realized over the weekend I misunderstood how Tezzeret worked a little bit. So let's look at the card. Okay. I'm sure some of you guys realize this. It's not something I realized. Tezzeret's static ability says the first activated ability of an artifact you activate each turn costs 2 less to activate. This means that if you activate like a Springleaf Drum or a Moonsnare prototype to cast Tezzeret, this static ability is not able to be used, or a Darksteel Citadel to cast Tezzeret. This static ability is not in play on the turn you cast Tezzeret, which is really bad for the card, because I think like the best thing about Tezzeret, in my opinion, is the ability to power it out with like Springleaf Drum and Moonsnare prototype and on like turn 2, turn 3, and start getting value and like start getting mana advantage with that static ability. That's what I really liked about Tezzeret, okay? And that is not how the card works apparently, and so my overall evaluation of the card has really dipped, shall we say. Whiskey with the 50 months, Zemo with the Twitch Prime. It should not include mana abilities. Yeah, I think that I don't necessarily think this is like how Wizards necessarily intended this design to be, but you know, this is how it works, and the card is a lot worse in Modern because of it. The card is a lot worse. Yeah, I also found that out the hard way this weekend. You know, it's not the end of the world, but I will definitely say, like, while I still have some ideas for places we can try Tezzeret, it is no longer like one of the cards I'm most excited to be messing around with. Okay, just a 3/3 Murktide here, but this Drown in the Loch is basically dead for now. I guess I am gonna get to Tourach them, and there's a Murderous Cut. I should Tourach them here, right? Well, maybe no. Let's Murderous Cut. Yeah, let's Murderous Cut. What's nice about Murderous Cut here is oh, it's so close. Tourach gets their hand empty. But Murderous Cut means I get to keep Kaito. Alex, give it 8 months. Appreciate you. Is it silly for you to ask for an Urza deck with Salt Saga? I don't know. I mean, it's kind of silly for you to ask for me to give you a specific deck. I'll just, you know, continue to make the decks I want to make, and you know, I don't ever like. I don't think I've ever like, you know, said, all right, I'll fulfill this specific request for you, chatter. You know, at least not since I've stopped doing dono decks. But yeah, like, you know, I understand the desire to not have Urza Saga in your deck. I understand that Urza Saga is expensive, and you know a lot of people don't like it, but that doesn't mean that I'm gonna build you a deck. Alright, let's go. No cards in hand. He looks like the 8 months. Appreciate you. Rogue Lord, yeah, this is a rogue deck. Does this have legs? I don't know. It's our first match with it, but we're up a game. We're super ahead. I like the deck. What can I say? It's in a spot at the moment where I like it. I think it's in a spot where it looks pretty solid to me. And it's like at least good enough to start, you know, trying out and seeing how good it is. Okay, they have 2 cards on top, but then they're gonna Thought Scour me. They draw one of those cards. This is when it attacks, not ETBs. Okay, yeah. Agony, thank you for the tier 1. Appreciate you. Oh, milled over my Jace. Bummer. And they're like, okay, I gotta keep this Delver of Secrets. I gotta keep the Delver. When I play Affinity with Reality Moonstare Prototype. Yeah, that was the very first thing we did with Neon Dynasty. And we'll be playing more as well. I've done a couple different versions of it so far too. No Into the Story. You could play it Into the Story. Play Band Control at local LGS. A little bit redundant local. And I got wrecked by Greek Shadow. Deck already seems like it's a good matchup against Shadow. I mean, yeah, you have a good matchup against Shadow. This is kind of a classic, a classic like fallacy to fall into, where like you lose to a good matchup and at FNM and you want to alter the sideboard to make the matchup better. Just take the L. All right, Fatal Push off the top. This got just a landed hand. Fortunately, my life total is kind of low, so I'm probably not going to be castling too much more. Yeah, not a very good spell pierce either. Rogue creatures a bit weak and modern. I think Kaito makes the deck more solid. Yeah, obviously, yeah. If I'm playing this. All right, I guess we're gonna channel this. With Guild Globe, I don't know what that card is. Yeah, channel bounce channeler. Alright, I'm gonna go to 1. Got another top deck. Probably go to game 3. We were super ahead this game too. That turn where we could have maybe kept Kaito around, that was maybe the turn we lost. Like their hand like specifically being Spell Pierce Heat. I guess they could have heated the Kaito actually. And then like the Tourach was gonna get a lot worse. But that was definitely the hardest decision in this game. Okay, well, maybe we'll get some more info here. Okay. I guess they played out the Scalding turn, so. I saw an Esper build of Historic, Hurkyl and Historic. I mean, so like, sorry, I'm gonna get a little stun luck today already. This is something I've been asked about like probably like 20 times at this point. Spike, what about an Esper version of the Parhelion combo? And like we've talked about it, and it's like Faithful Mending and Dakin seem like interesting enablers, but you like lose any semblance of like a good cohesive early game, and your deck seems like to be so much more fragile, slow, and disruptible to removal when you compare it to the Mardu variant. And so it's like this is my evaluation of. This is my evaluation of, they did bring in Bloodmoon, we saw Bloodmoon, so I want to keep these Pierces in. I think on the draw, I'm going to go down 1 Tourach, play an extra Inquisition. So this is my evaluation of the card, right? Oh, I'm on to play for game 3, sorry. This is my evaluation of the card, though. I'm trying to think what I want to do on turn 1. I think I'll play the Takenuma. And sorry, being Esper over Mardu. This is my evaluation, and like until somebody tells me like, until either I figure out why like there's Esper is like so much better than than Mardu, or if like I can like think of a build that's better, or somebody can tell me like what is Esper doing better than Mardu. I'm not gonna like, you know, play the deck. Goryo's my Mardu vehicle deck. Goryo's doesn't return the vehicles, right? Just Greasefang. Unearth is better at doing that. Better enablers and better removal. Okay, I disagree strongly that you have better enablers than Esper, because Mardu gives you the best enabler, which is Goblin Engineer. Goblin Engineer is a much better enabler than Mending or Dakin. So like, yeah, that is also not true. And also, you also have Prismatic Ending in Mardu, right? Like, you also have Prismatic Ending in Mardu if you want it. So that's also not a good argument. They showed me so many Spell Pierces. I think I'm probably not supposed to jam Kaito into Spell Pierce. Let's wait a turn. Teferi's fine, but you also like probably want to play Dakin. You also play Greasefang, so at this point your curve is really bad. Is you know, my counter argument to that. Maybe I was supposed to drown here to not like play into Pierce. I don't know. The drown is just so valuable. Yeah, I think I'm just gonna play a second Thought-Thief, and then even if they Murktide, their yard's gonna be so full. Alright, let it go. Okay, now I can pay for Pierce. Don't have a drown for an opposing Murktide, and they have potential counterspell up, but they've got Castle Locthwain, or sorry, I've got Castle Locthwain. I should just jam the Kaito. And it resolves. Draw a card. Pass. They have a heat. If they had a heat, they might have killed my. They probably would have killed my Thought-Thief, right? Maybe not. Gibson given an Esper. Gibson given is very slow. I don't think that the card is like, it's very good. If they bounce this, I can replay it, so I don't think they're gonna bounce. I just draw 3. Yeah. Gifts is very slow. I've played it as an enabler in these decks. It is not like completely unplayable, but it is also I don't think very good. And so again, this is my evaluation. Like, you know, every single card you guys are suggesting, I've considered, you know. But yeah, at the time of making this comment, I just don't think the plan is very good. Okay, well, they've got an active Jace. I'm gonna loot. Discard a castle, pass. Not feel great about this. Max, you must appreciate you. Do you think no from rogues helps a lot of bad decks? Yeah. Obviously, it is not just like always that good to be milling your opponent, or usually that good. But you also have 4 main deck Voidwalkers to help with that issue. Okay, I think I'll make a rogue here, or ninja here. Yeah, people are definitely putting Delver in their deck again. Okay, we'll see if they want to give me some free info here. Yeah, Spell Pierce on top, so looks like we're getting into a fight over this now. Okay, and I'm definitely going to counter back, because we know they've got Spell Pierce, so it's not like this drown can do anything else this turn. Cheap manliness, let's be reasonable, to enable Kaito when your board is empty. I mean, Kaito, like, when your board is empty, like, Kaito still loses, it still makes a token, and then this deck already has the channel lands and the castles as utility lands. I think the castles are better than man lands in this deck. And, you know, you can't play all utility lands, but like, you could. Like, it wouldn't be that big a deal to play, like, the Hive of the Eye Tyrant. Hive of the Eye Tyrant would probably be fine. Okay, bolt the Kaito. I probably attack Jace. Yeah, I don't think it would cost you that much. Like, I do think you could tweak the mana base a little bit. Hive of the Eye Tyrant, I would play that over Hall of the Storm Giants in this deck, because you have all black 1-drops. And yeah, obviously there's some synergy there with Kaito too. Yeah, they are playing the Delver list. I don't know. I mean, Delver's not like unplayable in their deck, but I don't think it's correct to build it this way. I was playing budget version with Delver over Monkeys. Yeah, I guess that's probably true, just because we haven't seen Ragavan. I just kind of I didn't actually look at the list that top 8'd the challenge over the weekend. There was a list over the weekend with Delver that top 8'd the challenge. I assume that list had Ragavan, so I just kind of also assumed that this is what they were playing. All right. What are we doing here? It did not have Ragavans. Okay, well then it's just a budget deck then. Which is cool. It's always cool to see a budget deck taking down a tournament. Could send both a Jace, but I think I'm going to send 3 at them. And they concede. Well, oh, I guess they're brainstorm locked. Okay, that makes sense. Like, Castle Locthwain won us that game. Are verdicts redundant in Lotus Field? Yeah, I don't like verdict. You already have a ton of removal. I don't usually like verdict in Lotus Field now. Why no Bitter Blossom? I'm gonna rip a band-aid off. Rip. Bitter Blossom not playable in Modern. It's, you know, the card is very weak, very underpowered, and just because we are a blue-black deck with rogues, like, even then, like, Bitter Blossom is just not a card I'm interested in including in my Modern decks. Okay, get a Voidwalker down, I suppose. Low love for Spreading Seas side. Spreading Seas is fine. Maybe that's better than the Subtleties. I was kind of wanting. I wanted to try these out, like, against the big mana decks. I don't know what my opponent's doing. I hope they don't Blood Moon me. Oh, they're probably playing Blood Moon if they have Prismatic. Could be like Boros Stoneblade with okay, why would they fetch why would they fetch Mountain there though? Well, I only have one island in the deck. I do have a, you know, Swamp in play for whatever that's worth. I don't think I'm gonna push this. I mean, obviously, I just have so much mana to spend to hit the Sentinel. Oh, yeah, these are the planes in hand. Yeah. They probably have one planes. There's no way you're playing a red-white Blood Moon deck and you only have one planes. Yeah, we are gonna lose this sort of fire or to Blood Moon this game. Sometimes you do. Ooh, maybe not. No, I only have one swamp. Okay, let's go to game 2. Okay, so they're playing Boros Stoneblade. They added Lightning Bolt to the deck. I'm going to play these Spell Pierces. Not going to play Hurkyl's Recall, I think. Would a Clean to Dust be too greedy? I'm playing 2 Murderous Cut. I think that you probably can't afford the 3rd Delve spell. I usually consider Clean to Dust to be a Delve spell. I think 5 discard spells is probably a good number. Tourach being pro-white is usually pretty good in this matchup. Pithing Needle is pretty good too. I should bring in the Needle. I might just cut all the Soaring Thought-Thieves. I don't know. They actually block most of my opponent's creatures pretty well and at instant speed. Maybe the Voidwalkers are not too good in this matchup. I think I want the Damnation. Dress Down is interesting. It's not. It doesn't stop the. Oh, it does stop protection after the equip from a sword, which can be relevant if I want to like block with Thieves Guild Enforcer. But I guess they don't have a pro black sword if they're playing something close to my list. Let's play 1 Dress Down and then play 1 Subtlety. Training Grounds for the 6 months. Appreciate ya. Maybe I'll play the 6 discard spell on the play. Yeah, MTG bot's still down, unfortunately. If I play any Lion Slash Brews, no, it's just not super high on my list. Where like I think Lion Slash is good, but it's like, you know, it's just not going to be that impactful in any. Maybe I want to be able to get an island off of this Delta, so I'm gonna Inquisition here. Oh boy. Yeah, they're definitely not playing exactly my list. Looks like they've updated it. Definitely have to take the Sanctifier. Yeah, it's just not very exciting to me to play Lion Sash in these decks, where it's just like Lion Sash is like just the most marginal upgrade for like a deck like okay, now we're getting small. Lion Sash is just the most marginal upgrade for Hammer Time and Boros Stoneblade. Where like I am like, it'll be fun to play with it, but it just doesn't really change the deck enough to like for me to like want to be playing it this early into the new metagame. It's kind of going to be like, you know, like I talked about this a little bit today, but this morning I was like really stuck, and I was really like, I just didn't know. Like I'd planned to play Jund Saga with Traverse, and I woke up and the mana base just looked so atrocious to me, and I was like, I considered just playing Boros with Lion Sash, but I'm like, this is just not exciting enough. This is just not good. You know what we need to be doing at this point. So I started to work pretty hard on this list, which I think is pretty exciting. Oh, I didn't update the record. Okay, Fervent Champ. Probably should attack. Yeah, I thought about a Sultai build with like birds, Ice Fang, maybe not birds, maybe just Ice Fang, maybe Goaif. There's a lot of ins and outs, like just, you know, roughly millions of ways you could build this deck. All right, it's kind of that. I guess they do have a protection from Black Sword. Could drown this. I think that using my mana efficiently this turn matters when I've got the Castle Locthwain. Like, if I could just, like, you know, fade anything super huge here, and then Castle Locthwain this turn, I think that's going to be kind of nice. So here I can hold up this channel, or, should I attack? Probably I'm attacking here, yeah. Okay, I'll hold up the channel or the Castle Activation. Yeah, the blue land is colorless, so if my opponent does have a sword here, I still get to bounce this. Looks like they're going to get a sword. No attacks for no reason. I guess, I'm sorry, they're playing a red flash creature, obviously. Okay, Thoughtseize is nice. Get that sword out of their hand. Enforcer is also nice as a, now they have to act, I actually have a flash blocker. Oh, they also have Kaldra. Well, that sucks. But I do have this, but then they can equip onto the Fervent Champ. Fuck. I gotta take the sword. And I also think I should attack so I can try to snipe a creature here. I also could potentially raise. Like, I'm gonna have 6 points on the crackback. Seize the sword and bounce the token on Kaldra. I can't bounce this turn. The channel costs 4 mana. I don't have a legendary creature in play. Yeah, but if I get to block this Fervent Champ here, which looks like I am, then bouncing the Kaldra token should be pretty good, because they're not going to be able to just equip it onto the Fervent Champion anymore. But it says, you scare me for life. I'm never attacking into blue-black again. Immediately forgot your lesson. That's funny. Thoughts on Anubis, Land, and John. So I think it's good there. The thing is, it's like, so like this morning, what I wanted to do today, I wanted my plan for today. Well, we're gonna go test out these channel lands and Jund, and like I got a list together, and I'm a little bit frustrated because like Magic Online crashed and like the list I have didn't save, but it's okay because I did kind of hate it anyways. But I got a list together, and oh, I actually don't need to respond here. I got a list together, and I woke up this morning, I think the mana was just so bad. With 4 Saga, 1 of each basic, 1 of each channel land, the mana looked so bad to me. And this channel land looking really good here. And so it's like I tried to fix it, and like the idea was that I was trying to, like, you have traverse and like the Jund Saga decks, you could traverse for Saga, you could traverse for the Boseiju and the matchups it's relevant in. I wanted to try out the other channel lands. I thought about cutting the other channel lands, and I was like, you know, getting a little stuck there. And like the last thought I had was like, what if we just cut Urza Saga completely? And then I'm like, well, what if we maybe, if we're cutting Urza Saga, maybe we cut Luris, and then we play like Grist as a traverse target. We could play Bedlam Reveler as a card that I'm always addicted to when you're playing Jund and you're playing Traverse, but I'm digressing a little bit. And so I was getting really stuck, and I decided to just pivot and not play that today. And just like work on it later. Probably cut a Kaito on the draw. The new Boseiju Lena Giglio Deliria. Yeah, I mean, it's obviously very good there. Rethinking with the 6 months, appreciate you. So yeah, so I still intend to try, you know, I still intend to try this idea out, the Jund Saga, or Jund with Traverse and like the channel lands and a bunch of Ren and 6s. This is still something I think is interesting, and something that I'm gonna shock in Watery Grave here so that I'm not shocking and holding up obvious blue-black. Okay, well, I do have Dress Down to maybe deal with a Sanctifier. Do I want to take a Ranger Captain? I could also Dress Down the Ranger Captain ETB. It's not that good. I'll take one of the Sanctifiers. Obviously, this card's kind of a pain. Half a years of my commitment issues start to kick in. Well, we'll take care of those together, huh? We're all in this together. Yeah, this is the first league. We're in game 3 currently against Boros Stoneblade. I agree that this list looks sweet, and I'm happy with where it is. It took me a while to, like, you know, be happy with it. It's a lot of pressure by them. I think that I probably just have to Thought-Thief into Kaito, take 6, but I'm going to start drawing a lot of cards, and then ideally these cards are going to allow me to exile their Fervent Champion. Ideally these cards are going to allow me to catch back up a little bit. Murderous Cut pretty awkward against the Sanctifier. Oh boy. Do I have merch? No. I do not have any merch. Okay. Big hit. I guess maybe I was actually supposed to leave this back. It's probably pretty bad. Yeah, that was probably pretty bad. Oh boy. One land short, but so they go activate Stoneforge Mystic. I dress down in response. I dress down in response to them activating Stoneforge. And so they can't equip for 0 mana. And then these don't get pumped. And then I can... Yeah. I like Kaito a lot. Finding the best shell for Kaito is a journey, I think. An exciting journey. What is this? The Path Exile? Welp. So, equip here. So I'm going to go... Should I Thieves Guild Enforcer to block, or should I Fatal Push? I think it's close. I'm going to Fatal Push. I've got multiple Murderous Cuts here. We're going to Chump Block, and then we've got 2 looks at an untapped land for this Damnation. Ding, 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 ding. So we probably Put back the Spell Pierce here. Dead to a Fervent Champion, but they've already used 2. They've got 2 cards in their hands. Tap Sacred Foundry. Passes. Let's go. Let's go. They did show me Lightning Bolt game 1, so obviously we have to be a little worried about that. Probably discard a Murderous Cut here, though, and get a Swamp, Tourach them. Last card could be Incarnation pretty easily. Yeah, imagine if they sack Ranger. it was a 5-drop, not the one we predicted, though. Oh, we can also ultimate this. We can also ultimate this. Although now that I'm going to be pushing Ragavan instead of playing Enforcer, the ultimate probably should wait a turn. But I get to put some Lords into play. Okay. I guess I'm going to name Sword of Fire and Ice. Again, they're not playing exactly the list like that I've been playing, the Boros Stoneblade list. They did show me Lightning Bolt game 1. They don't have Lightning Bolt here. Shouldn't really be any difference between being a 1 and being a 2. So I'm going to get a Watery Grave. And then Ultimate Kaito sounds pretty sweet. And it does give me lethal next turn, so seems like what we should do. Okay, dead to bolts. I think we beat basically everything else. Yeah, I really doubt we're gonna want to draw off Castle, but that is the difference between 1 and 2. You're right. All right, opponent gives us the GGs. That was a really exciting match. Really exciting match, and we're 2-0 with the Kaito Rogues Brew. Play Cling to Dust. Wooden Puddle, thank you for the 11 months. Appreciate you. I'm doing well today. Could Of One Mind be good in the deck? I don't think it would be any good, no. Not in this deck. How would I change this for Historic? I don't play Historic. I can't tell you. You know, there are other people who are very into the format. As someone who, you should not be asking someone who doesn't play the format at all how to build a deck in that format. Is there a way the deck can play Charm? Yeah, you could build it to play Charm. Obviously, I thought about it. I think that it's probably like not worth the strain on the mana. Like you see, I really like just being very light on the blue splash. If I'm gonna be playing this many black spells and Voidwalker, but like you can just max out on Sunken Ruins and dual lands, and you can build the mana base to like support Charm. It's just gonna be more painful, and like your Castle Locthwains aren't gonna be very good either. Yeah, this card also won us a game. So we went Mold to 5, and then they played a Windswept Heath. So maybe we'll get more info off this Thieves Guild Enforcer. Okay, they're a money pile deck. Probably save the Marsh Flats for Revolt, and then I think I'm gonna main phase this. This means if they crack their fetch, they can't run in 6-ping my Thieves Guild Enforcer, because that's gonna be 7 cards in their graveyard. Just putting an Archon of Cruelty in your deck in case. Oh, this is 8 cards or more. I always get so tripped up that these are 8, and then Into the Story is 7. Oh man. Yes. But yes, putting an Archon of Cruelty in your deck is nonsense. I think putting an Archon of Cruelty in your deck for the Kaito ultimate makes no sense. If you're ultimating Kaito, you can just get a couple of Soaring Thought-Thieves and you're gonna win. You know, just like we did last game. Oh, they milled over Dryad, so they are Bring to Light actually. And then we exile Grazer Triumph, so we can play a Grazer next turn if we want. How's the deck doing? This is our first league. We're 2-0 with it. It's actually looking pretty promising, but it's certainly early to tell. gonna bounce my Voidwalker, I have to assume. Looking to purchase Shadow and Hammer Time decks, do you think it's worth it? Well, worth it is always, like, you know, determined by the individual, but both those decks are good, and if you're interested in them and you've got the funds available, it probably is. Okay, so I don't have triple black, so I can't go Thoughtseize plus Voidwalker. So I think I'll just go Thoughtseize, Hold Up, Drown. Okay, and then, yeah, let's just go ahead and take the second Teferi. Kill their first Teferi, hit them for 4, mill them for 1 million. Yeah, the milling actually might end up... maybe not in this game, but it may make it to where like a Bring to Life or Escape Shift can't kill us without a Dryad, because they just might mill too many mountains. I haven't talked about the humans list of top 8 of the challenge. I haven't talked about it. So it was playing the card that gets +2/+0 for each modified creature. So basically you get +2, it gets +2/+0 for each counter that has been put on it with Champion of the Parish. And I mean, I'm not of the opinion that it looked that good to me, to be honest. Yeah, I don't think I want to drown that. Do I want to trade Thieves Guild Enforcer for Dryad of the Elysian Grove? I think the answer is yes. Saturo, not good for the deck. I don't know what that card is. Is that the card that gives all your cards ninjutsu? Because, yeah, that card is not good in this deck at all. Like, you know, for that deck, you need to be, like, doing some goofy stuff and, like, playing Blightsteel Colossus. So you'll have a good time, and your deck won't be that good, but you'll have a good time. Isn't Thoughtscour gas in this deck? I don't really feel like it. No, not necessarily. Like, these rogues turn themselves on very quickly. Thoughtscour is, you know, a card that doesn't impact the board in a deck with a 3-mana Planeswalker, and like in a deck like this that wants to like be ahead or at least at parity on board when you play Kaito on turn 3. Like, you're not that interested in playing a 1-mana cantrip either. Do you think Affinity plus Neoform has legs? No, there's better payoffs without like making your deck have worse top decks and becoming like just more fragile and inconsistent. As cool as that deck is, like that deck is also like the coolest ever. I agree with that. I like that. There hasn't really been much tension with the Voidwalker Drown yet. That's been something I've liked a lot so far. Okay, so we're playing against Bring to Light Scapeshift. Probably want to Needle against the Ren and 6 deck. Subtlety doesn't seem too bad either. It's not necessarily going to be too good though. Tourach's probably pretty good. Some amount of... Spell Pierce has got to be good against their Planeswalkers. Probably just Spell Pierce, no Flusterstorm in this matchup particularly. I think I'll play... You know, I still want these pushes. I think maybe I'll play 3 push, 1 cut. Can be kind of tough to like leave up a fetch land to push, but push is probably pretty good. Could cut the Borrower maybe. Trying to think if there's anything else we want to do. The Dauthi with 9 months. Amazon Prime free sub. Wow. First time hearing of this. Yeah, Subtlety might be good. It's probably like a little mid, you know. Is Fury better than Verdict in general, which is why you play them in Lotus Field? It's more complicated than that. Like, Lotus Field is a deck that like the Incarnations being 0 mana allow you to buy time to assemble your big mana combo engine, which Verdict doesn't do. And then it's also a 5 mana threat in every single matchup, which you can play proactively, which Verdict also can't do. And so like the Incarnations play so well in Lotus Field, but when you're playing a deck that's playing 4 Solitude, 4 Fury, you don't really need to put Supreme Verdict in your deck, because like those, like, you know, you have a ton of mana, you have 4 Solitude, 4 Fury, you're going to be good against creature decks. Fahrenheit to go to 3 months, appreciate you. That's the ideal. I think I'm going to submit this. Let's submit this. Yeah, this deck was like 220 tickets or something. Yeah, it was you know, relatively budget friendly, and you also like can... Oh, the problem with like cutting the fetch lands from the mana base is like your fatal pushes just start to like actually suck. So I don't know. Like it is a bit obnoxious to like this deck, you could build the mana base much cheaper, but like you really do need the fetches for Fatal Push. I don't know. But it wasn't very expensive on Magic Online. It was like, you know, or at least for a modern deck. 259. Okay, I guess I maybe misremembering the number, but still not that bad. Love to be able to Thoughtseize a Wrenn in 6. I'm probably going to Thoughtseize the Endurance next turn. Yeah, also for Delph, for sure. Okay, this was their draw. Okay, so they played a Triome this turn. This actually means that my opponent is not going to be able to cast Endurance this turn, so I should just play my island, I think. Phil, thank you for the 8 months. Appreciate you. We're also not playing a Grazer. I've experimented with any Fairy Ninja list. I mean, I've played those decks. They're not good. You know what I mean? You put Bitter Blossom in your deck. You play like these terrible 1-mana fairies. Those decks just kind of suck. I'm sorry. So they drew Misty Rainforest. So I'm gonna take the Endurance here. A lot of Band-Aid ripping today, huh? If you want a cheaper mana base, would I recommend Bloodthirst or Fatal Pushes? Yeah, probably. I actually, so I think one of my most the budget deck on Channel Fireball that I probably am the most proud of is this Mono Blacklist. I might not have it saved to my deck list anymore. It's on Channel Fireball for free though. But I'm pretty sure I'm playing Bloodchief's Thirst over Push in that deck because you don't have fetch lands. Yeah, here it is. Budget Mono Black Luris. Yes, you can find this list and a little bit of a guide for it on Channel Fireball. I think this is like a pretty good budget deck to get introduced to in Modern. You spend most of your money on Mishra's Bauble, but you get to be a Luris Bauble deck. You actually get to have some like great utility lands with Hive of the Eye Tyrant, Castle Locthwain. You would add the new Channel land too, depending on if that's in your budget or not. You get Tourach, Voidkeeper, Gatekeeper of Malakir, Sign in Blood. This deck maybe should be playing like the first Murderous Cut. Maybe do I have Murderous Cut in the sideboard? No. Yeah, Murderous Cut probably be pretty good for this list too. Why does Bitter Blossom so expensive? It is really cool when people like Bitter Blossom. Like the same reason you guys are asking me about Bitter Blossom is the reason why Bitter Blossom is expensive, because it is cool and people like it. It's not really. It's the same thing with Liliana of the Veil. Like Liliana of the Veil is a really expensive card. It sees some EDH play, and like I guess probably so does Bitter Blossom. But like the reason why these cards have a high price value is because people like them and people want to own them and they want to play them, and that that does generate demand. Discard Valky Omnath, so their hand is just Escape Shift, which is not doing too much here. Yeah, I've got a few different budget lists. I think I probably have like 5 or 6 budget articles on Channel Fireball at this point. If that's something you guys are interested in. I also have, non-budget content, of course. We know their hand is Escape Shift, so I'm not going to fire off the Inquisition. We brought in Jace. Yeah, Jace is for kind of the grindier matchups. We did bring it in against Murktide. I'm not sure that it's good. This is something that it's important to like just, if you guys know this, I don't have to explain it every time. But I'm not a god. I'm just a guy. I don't know what the perfect sideboard is for these new brews. Like it is like the sideboard is the hardest part of any deck to finish, and especially when you're first putting a list together. Like the sideboard just takes time to come together, and it takes like a lot of testing and tuning and trying to figure out like what your bad matchups are, what are you weak against. Like it's just impossible to like know exactly what your sideboard plan needs to be without playtesting a deck. So like a lot of times I'll be playing like a lot more generic sideboard cards, like a Jace, like these subtleties, just to kind of like get like a general feel, and then like the sideboards become a lot more tuned as time goes on, or at least I like to think they do. Okay, so they can Scape Shift here. Do they even have enough mountains left in the deck? I guess I didn't mill any. Looks like they're checking. Thank you, Zug. So they're going to cast Scape Shifts. So they have to stack 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. They have to have 6 mountains left in their deck. Okay, we probably need to counter this. Okay, I'm gonna play this main phase in case if I like a Teferi, I'll probably cast Teferi, turn off Bring to Light. Just 2 lands. Okay, you can actually draw those, that's fine. We should be pretty good here though. Like, they oftentimes just play 1 Scape Shift, so they've got no cards in their hand. I'm not sure exactly what they could top deck. I guess Omnath? Yeah, probably Omnath. Isn't Dauthi awkward as doesn't let the graveyard grow? So yeah, here's the thing about that is like, when you have Voidwalker in play, you just have complete control. Where if Voidwalker is awkward for your rogues, you get to use your rogues to mill them, and then you just get to sack Voidwalker and play something. And it's also like pretty easy, I think, to like get their graveyard up to buff your rogues and buff your drown and have Voidwalker going too. So I don't think there's really much tension because it's like, yeah, if you have Voidwalker in play, it's not, you just get to sack it. You just get to sack it for value, and likely for a lot of value because you're milling your opponent too. And then Voidwalker also like it's nice to have main deck graveyard hate in your rogue deck too, because like one of the biggest weaknesses of playing Thought-Thief Enforcer is that you're filling up your opponent's yard. So like being able to mitigate that with 4 main deck Voidwalkers is also like really important. So I think that's the way to go. I also think that Modern is like the most open format for brewing. I really like to brew. I really like to build decks, and you know, obviously every format has room for that. You know, maybe Pioneer is even actually maybe Pioneer is the place where you can most easily brew right now. But you know, that is a big part of why I like Modern, is I'm able to like wake up and do new things most days, most weeks. I think I'll Thoughtseize here. Could also be good to Enforcer earlier. Okay, they're on Brew. Looks like some kind of Simic Reclamation deck. This Blast Zone is a pain. I've got double 1-drop. I think I'll just take the counter spell. Thoughts for 1, Bloodchief's Thirst over Push as a catch-all. Well, Push is way better than Thirst overall. This is something that, like, you know, whenever you're making a gameplay decision like this, you know, when we're discussing this idea you have of cutting a push for a Bloodchief's Thirst, the decision is, you know, Bloodchief's Thirst is obviously more versatile but less powerful, right? You've identified that Bloodchief's Thirst more versatile, can kill anything, but you also probably understand it's less powerful because it's sorcery speed, and you're oftentimes spending 4 mana to kill like a 3 or 4 mana creature, while Push can do that for 1 mana. And so, like, you know, it's important in these spots to try to figure out, is the power level drop off that I'm getting for this more versatile card worth it? And in this case, I would say that it is not worth it. I think I just want the most powerful, cheap, efficient removal spells, especially in like the Ragavan Hammer Time format. Like the push is like pretty key in those matchups, you know. What do you think of 1-2 Hive the Eye Tower? I think it's a fine inclusion. I think that I prefer Castle Locthwain. Like Castle Locthwain like crushed Murktide earlier. I think Castle Locthwain's great, but you could definitely play it. Like I think that Hive would also be fine. And it's probably worth testing. You know, you could maybe play like 1 Hive and still play 2 castles and have it be fine. There's a lot of ins, and there's also a lot of outs to the case, perhaps. Repeal my token, but they kind of foolishly did this after I attack, so I just get to draw a card here. And I'm gonna slam that. Slamming. I'm less of a fan of Drownlock, because what about Grave when you need Grave hate? I guess I'm a little confused by the question. Counter bounce Kaito, wow. A little confused by the question, but again, what's nice about Drownlock and Voidwalker and the Rogues is that you just have like a decent amount of control over your opponent's graveyard. You just have a decent amount of control. Kind of a classic, you know, matchup against Wilderness Reclamation, where you have a lot of creature removal in your hand, and they don't have any creatures. We get to cut our removal for game 2, thankfully. When you play Graveyard 8, make Drown worse. Yeah, so here's I just got done explaining this. I'm sure you've just come in. I'm happy to say it a couple more times, but I'm not going to keep repeating this point all day. But with Dauthi Voidwalker being our graveyard hate of choice, and if it's ever awkward with your rogues or your drowns, you get to sacrifice it for value. You get to sacrifice it for value, and it actually ends up just like really not being that big a deal. In my opinion, that's what's going to happen. Where, yeah, if you're turning off their graveyard, you just get to mill them, ideally like a really nice card, and then and then you just and then you get to sack the Voidwalker, and then you're not graveyard hating them anymore. So again, that's gonna be the last time I think I say that for the time being. But we've said that a few times already. And it's also true when you're playing rogues, right? When you're playing rogues, a lot of times you're playing against a deck that likes cards in their graveyard, and that's just a disaster. When your rogues are when your rogues are helping your opponent, and so if you get to mitigate that by by having made that graveyard hate, that's also like very important to like not be as weak there. Memory Deluge. Isn't it better to keep creature in the graveyard for black channel land for dove costs? Yeah, I forgot that we have that card in the deck. I haven't played with it yet. Forgive me. Is Kaito good today? Kaito's good every day, I think. I've been liking Kaito a lot. I'd love to play both Voidwalkers. Probably should hold up Drown. Spell Snare, huh? Let's hold up the Drown. Wishcall Talisman and Greasefang. I really just like it where like you just allow your opponent to tutor up for efficient hate against you. Like maybe it's different. Maybe it's better in Historic, but in Modern, I think the interaction is too efficient. The Kaito is worth losing Luris. I don't know yet. This is my first league with the deck. But Kaito's been really, really good, and I also think that I think in a lot of these like decisions where like if you compare this deck to like Hammer Time, where like the decision of like Hammer losing Luris and Hammer is very nuanced, and a lot of people have really strong opinions on it, obviously, but the truth is, if you play Luris or if you don't play Luris, it's like both ways are pretty fine. I feel like the reality is like if you play Luris, if you don't play Luris in this deck or Hammer Time, it's just kind of fine. To be honest, it's just kind of fine. Like I don't think like Luris or Kaito is going to be like incredibly like correct. It's just a lot of it's going to come down to personal preference or opinion. Trophy Races over, haven't tried Demon Souls. Yeah, I started it. I haven't made it very far. I kind of feel like I'm going the wrong way because everybody feels so strong. All the enemies I'm fighting, dude. I milled over a Deluge. Rough. But okay, so I could plus the Kaito main phase, and if I hit another Soaring Thought-Thief exactly, I win the game. I think it's probably better to do this, huh? Yeah, milling them for a lot here. I really hope that I mill a Nexus of Fate, because if I mill a Nexus, then they probably can't win. I don't know. Maybe they're not playing it. They should be playing Nexus, I think, though. Okay. Yeah, I'm just playing the new cards. That's obviously the case. It's like, yeah, that's all we're gonna be doing for the next couple weeks is trying out the new cards. Okay, that gets exiled with the Void counter, which is not good to cast off the Voidwalker, but it's nice to deny them another copy of Deluge. We did mill one. Yeah, just trying the new cards for a while. I mean, they're not, they're just blue green, so they need to find a Cryptic Command, I guess. But they only have 14 cards left in their library too. Yeah, Kaito's definitely been great this game and been great this league. I feel like. So I could push my own Voidwalker here to deny the card. It's probably not correct. They got plenty of cards over there anyways. Yeah, so yeah, I think that Kaito's been great. I think the Grixis Murktide deck I played on Friday was fine, but Kaito has felt like a little bit stronger in this list where we have like more cheap interaction and we got flash creatures. Time will tell, of course. Okay, let's go to combat. Bit worried about them counter tapping with Cryptic. Deck for singles. If you want to post a link in chat, I can take a look as always. Alright, so I guess they're going to go for Ice Fang and I just have Murderous Cut. Oh, repeal. Okay, okay. Well, we get to draw a card. Okay, probably not doing that. But I'm just gonna main phase these, get them through counter magic. Again, my opponent has 10 cards left in their library. They probably have Typhoons as win conditions, right? But I haven't seen any of those yet. That's on Dimir Merfolk with Kaito. Kaito's probably okay there. Yeah. Kind of an interesting thought. I don't know. This, like, the Fire Ices feel like a little weird to me. Just splashing for Fire Ice, Wear Tear. They feel weird to me. Okay, my opponent does have Nexus in the deck. Fuck. Yeah, it feels a bit weird to me. When you just have access to cards in the format like Ragavan and Fervent Champion, which I feel like are the best cards for Stoneblade. So it feels weird to be Jeskai, but you just have like this light red splash when like the best Stoneblade cards are red. And like it kind of feels like you're maybe just forcing the blue cards a bit too much. Okay, so they have 7 cards left in their library. You know what's really weird is like we haven't like milled any win conditions. Like they cast an Ice Fang earlier. But, like, what is their actual win con? I know they have the Nexus. That's one of their cards, but... Surely it's Typhoon, right? I also feel like these channel lands... I'm not interested in playing the Seed of the Empire in my Archmage's Charm deck, you know? Like, this effect is... not bad, but in your Archmage's Charm deck, even with 2 Mystigates, you have 2 Mystigates, but you have 3 lands that just tap for white in your Archmage's Charm counterspell deck. Like, it's just going to be too bad. I don't know why you have 3 basic planes either. Like maybe you can get away with 1 if you play 2 Mystigates and no castle, but the second planes is just super greedy, I feel. It just doesn't make much sense. Blossoming Calm is a better sideboard card against Burn than Sunset Revelry. Lion Sash probably could be in the main deck. Lion Sash could probably be in the main deck. If you're in red, I probably want to, you know, the 2C's main, 2C's side is also a bit weird to me. Probably would like to be like 4 main or 4 side. 1/1 Infant Turn beat down. Well, I've got a blocker, and I also have a Murderous Cut. We'll see, we'll see. Okay. Cast Nexus, cast Nexus, cast Nexus, cast Nexus. Cast it right now. I can't believe they had the foresight to untap, huh? Okay, I'm actually just gonna be dead to the Ice Fang and, you know, by itself here now. I don't need to waste time with the Murderous Cut. Weird game 1, huh? Okay, those are my thought singles. Alright, so we're going to go ahead and cut the Fatal Pushes. Murderous Cut might still be fine. As we saw, they do have Hullbreaker Horror in their deck. Bring in the 1-mana counterspells. Needle on Blast Zone is maybe good, but I'm probably not that fragile to it. Don't think I want Subtlety. I do think I'm going to bring in the Jace. Maybe we'll just play one Murderous Cut. I've got Drown. Yeah, that's probably good. Never cut Kaito. I mean, maybe you can cut some Kaitos against like Hammer Time or Burn. I do feel like Kaito's pretty bad against aggro. You definitely don't cut it in this like super card advantage matters matchup. Against an opponent with like who seems very weak to planeswalkers. After seeing success with red white Stonblade, do you think your previous blue white is just not worth playing? I mean, obviously, like there are reasons to play the blue white variants if counterspells are really important, but the Boros Stonblade list I think is the way to go for the time being. I'm gonna mulligan this. I think we've got better 6s, including this one. This is a much better 6. I can either put back Tourach or I can put back Spell Pierce. Put back the Spell Pierce. I think with the Thoughtseize and the Castle Locthwain, I do care about my life total enough to just get a basic here. Okay, I guess I should take the... Oh, their hand's pretty good. Take the Dispute. Spellsnare is pretty good against my Tourach too. Hullbreaker Horror is a very win more card. It's a card I think is not good to include. I think most of the games that you win off Hullbreaker Horror, you're probably going to win anyways. It's not a card I like. And obviously, like, it's the kind of card that always looks good when you cast it, because you're casting it off Reclamation when you have millions of mana, and you're casting it when you have, you know, it's a 7 mana spell in Modern, so it's gonna look good when it casts it. But it's bad. It's not a card you should play because it's a 7 mana spell. You know, like these 7 mana spells I think are just not where you should be. Okay, so I can Kaito here and make them force, but I actually kind of feel like that endurance is just a bit too much. I'm gonna go ahead and Inquisition. Yeah, Tourach still gets spell snared. What matchup do you want Subtlety? Tron and Titan mostly. They got a forest? They got a forest, and I think they were trying to counterspell and then messed up. Man, their hand is strong. Yeah, I'm just gonna cast the Tourach now. I should have cast it first, but like it's just so weak into the spell snare that I think I just want to get more pressure down because their hand is all counter spells. If they go spiral into snare, I guess that's fine too. Just make this trade now. There's counter spell, force of negation, mystery card. Okay, land for Castle Locthwain is great here. Okay, they've got the counter spell up, so I'm not gonna jam the Kaito. This trade's okay, I guess. Okay, probably gonna play the Kaito this turn, just so I can get my hand empty and start to try to win the game with Castle Locthwain. I don't know why they countered that. They must have something that's good to Inquisition, I guess. Okay. So it has Force of Negation, mystery card. They're drawing another mystery card for turn. Yeah, their draw was very good this game. Okay, let's main phase this. Okay, I can draw a discard spell. I want to cast it now. Okay, Spell Pierce is not bad either. Yeah, Castle Locthwain has been really, really strong. I thought about playing 3. I kind of feel like it would tap too often, though. But you could play a 3rd. Castle Locthwain's like maybe like the most underplayed land in Modern. I liked it in the red-black deck for a little while, but it ended up feeling like Den of the Bugbear was the better utility land. Okay, Ice Sphinx pretty good for them here. Great Spell Pierce. Yeah, it's worse when you have Croak Solaris. Yeah. Guess I'll do this now. I'll Murderous Cut this if I draw it. I don't know what I'm taking here. Let's take the spell snare, because I could draw like 2 off the castle and play it. All right. Imagine if I had 1 more mana, how absurd this would be. But I think I like getting the creature in play to threaten play, because it's, you know, it uses my mana with the castle is important too. Notably, we didn't see Shark Typhoon in their deck, so don't think that's a card we need to be too worried about. Kaito and Esper Reanimator. I mean, it just seems like a lot worse to me than other options in that deck. I mean, it's kind of cool because it attacks from a different angle, but I don't know, man. I think you need like cheap creatures for Kaito to be good. Yeah, they can force this drown. And I'm gonna castle in response. I could draw another counter spell. Just another castle. How's Tourach? I mean, I've played, you know, millions of matches with Tourach. The card is very good. I think it's very good in this shell too. They're 1 land shy of the flashback. Millions might be overstated. I mean, yeah, it's obviously you guys, it's hyperbole, chat. Hyperbole. Oh, Tourach does get +1/+1 if you channel land. Yeah, it hasn't come up yet, but that is actually kind of cool. All right, let's try to find a spell to cast. If I felt like drown, kill this, it'd be so nice. Okay. Too bad. Probably losing this game. Feels bad to lose our trophy run, but yeah, just, you know, to Temur Rec with all the cards I tell people not to play in Temur Rec. But still a good run so far. I'll try to finish strong. Yeah, Temur, or sorry, not Temur Rec, Simic Rec with, you know, Spike. What about Search for his Kanta? What about Hullbreaker Horde? Dang it. Can't draw a card, or I die to Ice Fang if it's not like drown. Like, cool kid, thanks 8 months. Appreciate you. Any life gain? No. We could maybe play Cling over a Murderous Cut. Something I was considering. Tourach's dealt a lot of damage. Well, I mean, probably the best 2 cards we could have. We'll probably end up making some changes after this league. Opponent reveals a Wilderness Reclamation. I need to fight over that. I can't allow the Wilderness Reclamation to resolve. The game ends. And opponent's deck is Counterspell Tribal. Oh, I forgot this was a land. Okay, we'll play it out, but we're done. Life gain with Castle seems good. Yeah, I agree. I would like some life gain right now that we're at 1 life. I'm on board. I would love to gain life right now. So I could channel into the 1/3 to try to block this. Or this Brazen Borrower. Not quite dead. Just dead to, you know, anything. A beautiful place to be. Dead to anything. Including that. Okay. Cool match. Took the L. See if we can finish the first league with this deck with a 4-1. And probably will end up making some changes for a second league. I feel like I've liked the second Murderous Cut. But yeah, maybe the first copy of Cling is better than the second copy of Cut. Trey with the 12 months, happy anniversary. I know this isn't a financial advice channel, so let me ask you a piece of financial advice. Because I know this is not a financial advice channel, that should probably make it okay for me to ask you about what card to spec into. Because I know it's a rule not to do this, but again, because I know it's a rule, it should probably be fine, actually. Because self-awareness allows me to ask anyways. I didn't know it was a rule. Okay, well, I know you're saying I know this isn't a financial advice channel, so you know that I say this isn't a, you know I say that a lot, right? So it seems to me like you know it's a rule. Right? It seems to me like you know it's a rule when you say something like that. Alright, can't quite drown that. I do get to play Kaito, though. Probably better to not make a token into the Teferi -1. Bounces Spreading Seas. Yeah, I gotta take this out. It's fairy, I think. Sometimes I'll see a message in chat that I think is really funny, and I just like laugh at it. And I feel like a crazy person because I don't really feel like necessarily addressing it, but chat just sees me chuckling. Isn't it better to Dauthi than Thieves? You get to mill with Dauthi on board. You get to mill with Dauthi on board either way, because Dauthi triggers, or Thieves Guild Enforcer triggers whenever a Thieves Guild Enforcer triggers whenever a rogue enters. So you just get to mill them for more by Voidwalkering first. Okay, so took that L. I'm going to bring in the Pithing Needle. Subtlety seems okay. It's probably not great. I think I want to cut the third Inquisition. They are playing Ragavan. I'm not sure how scared of Ragavan I am on the play. I'll probably crim a couple copies of this. Or, actually, sorry, push is probably better than cut for the most part. I guess cut does kill their incarnations. We played 3 push, 1 cut. Bring in the Jace. Then bring in just like the first Subtlety. Or maybe I should play Spell Pierces. Yeah, I should probably play these Pierces instead. I don't think Borrower's very good in this matchup either. This looks like a good configuration. Spike has enjoyed chat more than game. Well, I know I love to play against the Ragavan deck or the Money Pile deck. How could you imply I don't love to play this matchup? I mean, I probably have to cast this Tourach. Because of stupid Ragavan. Yeah, it's the only deck we played so far today. We're probably going to run it back for next week, too. Surely they don't have 2 1-mana removal spells. 80 cards, by the way. Brutal. Absolutely, absolutely disgusting. I'm going to Kaito, make a 1-1. Probably get the island here. Subtlety good against Tron or Prime Time when they can top it their next turn. Well, the idea in this deck is that you have your rogues to mill over the card that you Subtlety. So in theory, it's gonna be a bit better here. That's just at least the idea. Could end up not being the case in practice. What do you think of the White March? That card's fine. It's fine. It's playable. All right, Needle Wren and 6. Yeah, their hand was insane, is what it is. Probably not a great matchup either. They got a counterspell in their hand. Guess I'll make them use it. Can cast that Voidwalker. I can bounce it back to my hand with Jace. The Yorion's probably not beatable. Yeah, I'm gonna pack it in. That was disgusting. Disgusting. Oh, sorry, this is not the list. This is the budget deck. Nothing in the treasure chest. Okay, do we want to try a Cling to Dust over...